When I started down this avenue, this is when I suddenly discovered the network effects that Ether's got and how fast that has been. And, I'm not, and again, none of this is about philosophy of the space or anything else. I just looked at the network adoption and went, oh my God, we thought Bitcoin was big, but this was big. How are you seeing the difference in the ETH versus Bitcoin network adoption models?
Yeah, no, but you're exactly right. The ETH network is growing much faster than the Bitcoin network, and we all know why, right? It's more scalable, it's less decentralized, it's less scarce.
The cryptocurrency industry continues to grow despite the very rocky beginning. As it grows, it brings more excitement and possibilities of great things to come. But there is probably nothing bigger to cryptocurrency investors than mass adoption. According to Finder.com, 33.7 million Americans currently own cryptocurrencies. In January, that figure was only about 27 million, meaning almost 7 million Americans have bought cryptocurrencies in 2022 despite the massive price declines. Global cryptocurrency adoption has also been moving pretty fast. According to a Finder.com survey, 27% of participants in Nigeria own crypto, 29% in India, 22% in Australia, and 25% in Vietnam. This GMI chart also shows that cryptocurrency adoption is moving at a much faster pace than internet adoption. The chart tracks internet adoption between 1992 and 2006 and cryptocurrency adoption between 2016 and 2030. It's the same time frame, but while the internet only grew just a little above $1 billion, the chart suggests that cryptocurrency adoption would have grown to 5.1 billion users, a 410% increase. As the industry looks forward to a wider reach, there is also the need to consider the cryptocurrencies that will get the lion's share of this massive influx of users. At present, Bitcoin is leading the pack, with 39.2% of market dominance. It is followed by Ether at 19.2%, according to CoinMarketCap. However, several crypto experts believe the flippening, an event when Ether overtakes or flips Bitcoin, is a possibility that draws closer by the minute. Many Ether investors have long predicted that the Ether market cap, which is currently $185.90 billion, will eventually surpass Bitcoin's $378 billion market cap due to Ether's smart contract functionality and broader use cases. The flippening takes center stage in a recent discussion between Real Vision CEO Raoul Pal and Jurrien, the director of global macro at Fidelity Investments. Pal and Timmer discuss cryptocurrency adoption, particularly for Bitcoin and Ether. They also discuss how the macro environment affects the prices of digital assets and the much-needed decoupling between the macro and the cryptocurrency industry. Please watch, share, and like this video as the two macro experts discuss some developments in the crypto space. Also, ensure you drop your comments and observations below and subscribe to the channel for more videos like this. Let's dive right in.
So we don't know exactly what the scarcity is. We know what it is right now, but I think investors will always demand a discount from the Ethereum valuation because we won't know in some future fork what will happen, to the supply, whereas we do know what will happen to the Bitcoin supply. So you're just trading one against the other, but clearly Ethereum is a faster growing network, and per Metcalfe's law, the bigger the network gets, the more exponentially the valuation of that network becomes. And I've used the example of Apple Computer, where you can see, if you look at their annual revenues, the more iPhones and all that stuff that they sell, the valuation goes up, exponentially to that until it gets to the point, and then when it gets to the point where the network is so powerful that it has such a large moat around it that even if I invent a far better iPhone tomorrow, I'm never going to be able to penetrate that network because it's too powerful. And I think Ethereum and Bitcoin, have reached those thresholds. That doesn't mean there won't be other coins and other networks out there, but I think they have satisfied the kind of the test to become big enough to be believed and taken seriously, right? I mean, a couple of years ago, a lot of investors said, well, this can get regulated out of existence pretty quickly. I think we've kind of, that ship has sailed, I think.
During the discussion, Pal and Timmer also discussed the impact of the macro environment on Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies. Over the past few months, we've seen a lot of interference from the macro, with crypto prices reacting widely to news about inflation, interest rate hikes, and most recently, Fed Chair Jay Powell's hawkish speech from Wyoming. On Tuesday, Bitcoin fell from a high of $20,500 to a record low of $19,743, the second time it's fallen to such levels in 36 hours. This is an example of the not-so-healthy relationship between the macro environment and the crypto industry. But Pal and Timmer believe we are drawing closer to a period where things like inflation, quantitative easing, and interest rate hikes no longer impact the cryptocurrency industry.
So here's my hypothesis here. Both you and I spend a lot of work looking at network effects and the adoption curve, right? It's clearly a logarithmic trend that is exponential in linear terms over time as adoption drives the value of the network. And you've done huge amounts of work on that. I've done huge amounts of work on it. We both tend to agree that this is one of the larger network adoptions that we've seen. So the trend is up and to the right, even though it's volatile. So the macro that seems that the only macro thing I can see that really affects it seems to be year-on-year rate of change of M2, as you were talking about. And we've got to this negative year-on-year rate of change of M2, which is generally the bottom of the Bitcoin market and the crypto markets overall. Okay, fine. So that looks right. So what we're both trying to say, which is why the macro is so important here, is we're both saying, listen, it's unlikely that M2 is going to remain so negative. We're already seeing China increasing its M2. So even if we don't return to QE and massive rate cuts, let's assume we don't. I actually think we'll get some of that maybe later, but irrelevant. But because the chart is up and to the right, you're holding a ball underwater, a beach ball underwater. And the moment M2 stops contracting, the ball rises just because of the, is that how you, so, you know, I'm very, very focused on crypto again right here. I'm very focused on bonds, very focused on crypto. And it feels that the crypto markets want to start pricing this. Yeah. How are you thinking through that?
Yeah,
Does that make sense?
I agree with that. I think Bitcoin and the rest of crypto just has to survive this winter of deleveraging. You know, it's the winter of our deleveraging, and because that's an idiosyncratic thing where, you know, we all know the stories of who blew up and this and that, and clearly that whole kind of balloon is shrinking, which at the end of the day, of course, will be I think a very big opportunity, because then you can get in based on the fundamentals. Which, as you mentioned, you know, the network adoption curve is up and to the right. We don't know the slope, but it's still up and to the right. But it's nice to be able to get in when you don't have to worry about if some person is going to get liquidated and drive another 10,000 points, you know, down. And so it seems to me we're getting towards the end of that cycle. You're seeing headlines of hedge funds and players blowing up. And, you know, usually when you're at the beginning of a downturn, you have a sense that people are blowing up, but you don't know who they are. And when they start making the headlines, I think it's when you're later in the cycle. So I agree that it will be nice to start looking at the fundamentals. I mean, we're all looking at the fundamentals, but to start having price respond to fundamentals without worrying about, you know, who's over their skis and has to puke out.
What do you think about Raoul Pal and Jurrien Timmer's discussion? Do you see a future where Ether flips Bitcoin's market cap? Please drop your comments and observations below and give this video a thumbs up. Also, be sure you check out our other crypto-related videos and subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching.